Getting hired to speak is cool and all, but how do you weed out the people who are just wasting your time?
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue. It is something you are.
So at a certain point, you got to learn how to weed people out. You got to learn how to figure out who are the people who are going to hire you versus who are the people who are just talking to you. And you got to know the difference. You got to weed them out so you don't waste time. So you start booking more events. You start focusing your actions, your activities, all on the things that get you on stage, and you get rid of everything that doesn't. So you got to learn how to really weed people out. You got to be really ruthless with your time, because you got to get focused on what it is you want to achieve. So here's how you weed people out and know the difference between someone who's going to hire you and someone who just wants to talk to you. First thing is, when you do this enough, you're going to start to see patterns. And the patterns that I see is that people who want to hire me, they hire me fast, meaning literally within about 3 emails, everything is good to go. I mean, I've gotten the money, everything is good to go in literally 3 emails. I do not talk on the phone. So it got to a point where they say, hey, we're interested in bringing you in. Then I send them an email asking them questions about the event. They reply with the questions, and bam, I reply with how much it is, and then I get 50% deposit. That's the process. And by doing this enough, that's basically the pattern. And anyone who deviates from this pattern, literally almost every single person who has deviated from this pattern, doesn't hire me because they're not serious about it. They say things like, oh, I'd like to talk on the phone, and really it's like a competitor just trying to get my prices or whatever, when he really just could have asked me and I would have told him. But you got to learn how to weed these people out, because there are little things where they'll send a message like, oh, I'd like to talk. And I immediately knew that this isn't someone who's serious, because someone who's serious, someone who says, we want Benji Bruce, we want to bring this guy in, that person is they're just thinking, let's give them the money. That's literally what's happening inside their head. We've decided, they've literally decided, and now it's just a matter of small details like, okay, where is it going to be, and here's how much it is. That's all it is. On the other hand, people who haven't decided, they say things like, let's talk on the phone. I know a lot of speakers are going to disagree with me on this. They're going to be like, what? You don't talk to people on the phone? Hell no, I do not talk to people on the phone before I get a 50% deposit. Absolutely zero, nada, zippo. I do not talk to people on the phone before I get a deposit, because I've been doing this so much for so long that I know the difference between people who hire me and people who are just looking. So in fact, if you want to test this, try to hire a big time speaker. Try to hire someone who's charging 50, 80 grand. You'll see they have the same process. You cannot get them on the phone unless you pay a deposit, unless they've already been booked. In fact, look up Gary Vaynerchuk and try to hire this guy or try to talk to him on the phone without paying his speaking fee. You won't be able to do it. And speakers out there are like, oh, I got to talk to people, and oh, I gotta do all this stuff. And really, it just doesn't work like that. You want to see patterns. People will only value your time to the extent that you do. You want to have like an instant rejection criteria, meaning when someone says something like, hey, Benji, I'd like to chat with you. That's an instant reject criteria, meaning I don't actually want to chat with them because, number one, they haven't expressed why they want to chat. There's literally no benefit to it. And then number two, it's not an activity that builds my business. I'm very clear on what activities build my business and what activities don't. And I know people say, oh, you got to network though. Oh, it's networking. But really, it's not networking unless you know who you're networking with and why you're networking with that person. Otherwise, why don't you just go out to Subway and just start talking to people, and then just walk into Subway all day and go network, and we'll see how you do that. An instant reject criteria are things like when people say, oh, I want to have a chat with you, or seminars is another instant reject criteria for me because they don't actually pay speakers all that often. Some do, but most don't. But seminars, and when people obviously don't don't do their homework. So when someone says like, hey, I'd like to learn more about your business, that's a sign that they didn't do their homework on me. So you need to have an instant reject criteria. It comes down to being clear on what activities grow your business and what activities don't. An activity like you doing prospecting, that grows your business, or you creating content videos, that grows your business. And when you want to weed out people who are just talking and thinking about hiring you versus people who have actually decided, you need to see the patterns. So master the ability to weed out the people, and you'll build your speaking business a lot faster. Trust me on this one.